Good afternoon, all. Good morning to some. Second slide. Let me first introduce ICPAC. ICPAC is a specialized institution of IGAD, the Intergovernmental Authority on Development. Is a regional climate center of excellence that creates regional products on long-range forecast and especially on seasonal forecast, and it supports the regional and national climate activities, and thereby strengthens the capacity of the member states in the Greater Horn of Africa region to deliver better climate services to national users in order to improve the livelihood of the population of the region and to build a resilience for climate variability or change. Can you have on the second one? ICPAC is also a WMO regional climate center of excellence for Eastern Africa. We organize the seasonal climate outlook for the region in collaboration with the national MET agencies of the member countries of the region. We organize consensus outlook usually 3 times a year. Okay. And we support the implementation of the IGAD regional climate change strategy. Next. Okay. We have several climate service products that we share with the region. And for those of you who have an interest, you can go on our website and get it. We provide, usually those products are the aid in the effort to adapt and mitigate climate variability and change effects on the region population. We also analyze trends and projections of rainfall, temperature, and extreme weather. We publish studies to understand the drivers of climate and weather extremes in our region. And we implement also pilot climate adaptation projects in various parts of the region. And we advocate for climate change mitigation and adaptation policies and increase access of the member countries to climate financing. Next. The IGAD region is, as most of you that are logged in today on this webinar, you may be aware that this region is one of the most vulnerable regions for climate change. This slide is from a friend. Actually, I like it. So in our region, to give you an example, the population of this region from 1960 to now has increased in most of the countries by about 10 times. Countries that were around 5 million in 1960 now are 50 million. That means people are moving to more marginal area. On top of that, we have an increased climate variability. The left graph shows you how rainfall has become more erratic on the decades between 1980 to 2010, and there is more decline than increase of rainfall. Although most of the models are suggesting that we'll see an increase of rainfall in this region. What we are seeing from actual observed data is more decrease than increase. And definitely we have an increase in temperature. Next. Also, we have a shortening of the rainy season. It starts late and it ends early. Good example of that is the rainy season, the MAM season of last year. It was quite short. It was late by also more than a month, and it ended early. So that is another added disadvantage that the region is seeing. Next. The 2019 it concluded a decade that was exceptional in our region and globally. In our region, 2019 and 2020 this year were years of extreme. In early 2019, we have seen a really dry year where the last part of the 2019 was quite wet. Then we had the outbreak of COVID-19 that came already with the region that was already under a threat from unprecedented desert lox invasion and widespread floods. In most of the, these are few gauges in the region. In most of the gauges in the region for the OMD season, we have seen an unprecedented rainfall amounts in the region and also on the map. So this is a sign of the changes that we're seeing in the region, and that was mostly due to a high Indian OMD index, the highest that we have seen since 1961. You add that the Western Indian Ocean that affects our has the most effects of all the oceans within our region is the ocean that is warming the fastest of all the oceans globally, tropical oceans. Next. Last year we have seen an unprecedented number of cyclones in the Western Indian Ocean. To be exact, we had 8. As you can see, at one time we had 4 of them developing. This is from UMSAT imagery. You can see 4 of them at the same time. This wasn't only for 2019. The same was true 2018. On the map of 2018, we had unprecedented numbers of cyclones. Usually, this area sees around an average 1 to 2 cyclones. Next. So I was telling you, this season we have seen an unprecedented events. A desert locust invasion in Kenya. This was the highest, the worst desert locust invasion in 75 years. In Somalia and Ethiopia, this was the highest in 25 years. And those were due to extreme rainfall that took place in the empty quarters in the desert, in the empty quarters deserts in the Arabian Peninsula, due to a series of cyclones hitting that desert in late 2018, and then creating a very favorable conditions for this outbreak. Then we had floods that were widespread, over 2.4 million people affected, over 500 casualties. And this was all the way from Uganda to Ethiopia, Kenya, Somalia, Djibouti. Next. And let's not forget that early 2019 was drought year, and we have 2 above average seasons. So we're going from one extreme to the next. This is creating problem of adaptation for the population. And next, I'll try to, at ICPAC, we have, as I told you, we are doing science on climate change and variability, and also we are helping on the adaptation side of the problem. You can do, and you cannot adapt to this problem without understanding it well. And definitely, as they say, climate is the average and what you expect, and we are seeing that the average is changing. So we need to adapt fast, also to understand how climate is changing within our region. As I told you, one of the dilemmas that we have in this region is that most of the climate models are suggesting a increase of rainfall, while we're seeing a decrease of rainfall in the actually measured rainfall. So there's a lot of unknown on climate change within our region that we need really to understand, to adapt it well. Thank you very much. And let me pass back the microphone to Abebe. Thank you very much.